All right, so we are back in the desert climber scene here today, and we have the rugs and cone update. I'll be using these new features to briefly explain the four principles of object-oriented programming and also explain how to find the vector between two objects. So let's get started. Firstly, let's check out what's new with the game. When I go into play mode here, you'll see that we have a few new things. We've got this cone that we can pick up, just like our helpful little cubes. And over here coming towards us is our flying magic carpet. Now, as we know, the goal of Desert Climber is to climb this giant, big old obelisk pillar in the center here. And with the help of our flying magic carpet, that's going to be a lot easier now. So let's get on up there. Now, this is obviously going to need a bit of difficulty management, switch a few things around, but right now this is just an example, so it doesn't matter that I just won and it was that easy. Now, the last thing that I want to show before going back into the editor here is this rug. It's going to be very important in a moment, so just take a look at it now. Now, let's get into the four principles of to show our first principle of encapsulation. Let's take a closer look at our new friend, the flying carpet. Encapsulation is all about keeping everything pertaining to a certain object within that object. So our carpet here has the chaser script, which is what's allowing it to follow me. This wouldn't be helpful if, say, this rock over here had that script, because we don't want that rock following us. No, we only want it to affect this carpet, and so it's encapsulated within it. Now, for our second principle, abstraction, we can see inspecting this carpet that it has this speed variable. Abstraction is hiding things within the object's memory so that our friends, the designers, don't have to worry about any big numbers that would hurt their brains. Looking into the actual script here, we see that there's a lot more going on than just that one speed variable, but we can't see any of this in the inspector. That's because this is all private, and the only numbers we want the designers seeing and accessing are the speed variable. And so the rest is abstracted. Now we'll get back into this script, but in a second. But I know what you're thinking. What's up with this rug? Why is this rug so plain and non-magical? Well, that's because of our next principle, polymorphism. This principle is all about the same thing possibly being many different things. The same way a word can have different meanings, these two rugs may look very similar, but they act in two different ways. They're the same size, same material, but this one over here is not moving at all. And this one over here is cool and magical and can hold our cubes and our cones. Yeah. Uh, and for the last principle, let's take a look back at our friend the cone. If you remember the just a second ago, this cone is able to be picked up and thrown around just like all these cubes. But this isn't a cube, it's a cone. Well, that's because of our final principle of inheritance. Inheritance is all about objects being based on other objects. This cone here is a child of its parent, the cubes. So it inherited the genetic ability to be able to be picked up and tossed around willy-nilly by the player. Unfortunate for it, very helpful for us. Finally, let's go back into our chaser script and see how this magical flying rug works on the inside. So how does it figure out all of this vector nonsense? So to find the vector from one object to another, we first need to know the location of both objects. That is what these parts here are doing. They're getting the location of our player and of our cube, or our carpet. Uh, then, by subtracting those numbers, they find the distance between the two, which in this equation is the vector that we need. The rest of this is telling that flying carpet to slowly go in the direction of that vector. And that's what gives the carpet its magic and its ability to fly towards us. Yep. So that's all for the rugs and cones update. Make sure to check back next week for whatever the next project has me add to this.